Welcome back to the Team Leal kitchen. It's Trudy. When I find myself in my kitchen eating or cooking, I always seem to have an audience. There's Betty, ready for a snack to fall down on the floor, and I usually have Gabby right behind her. So we asked our friends if they had any animals that they loved like their family, and we got a few responses. We chose the one we thought was the cutest. Look at Carlos. How adorable is he? He's so adorable. I think Carlos is the kind of dog that would definitely be the first one to snag a snack off of the floor in the kitchen while I was busy cooking. So today, let's see if he grabs any of what we're cooking. Chili con carne. You can serve chili con carne over white rice like my mother does, or you can serve it just like chili with cheese and sour cream and all the toppings. Or you can serve it the way I'm gonna serve it to my family tonight, as Frito Pie. So how do we make chili con carne? These are the ingredients that you are going to need to make it. Onion, tomato, garlic. You'll need some sazon Goya of culantro y achiote, Beyond Meat ground, tomato sauce, paprika, chili powder, salt, cumin, red kidney beans. All right. Well, now that we've got all of our ingredients together, let's get cooking. Ya vamos a cocinar. I first grab an onion. I use just a regular yellow onion. If you want, you can use a sweet onion, but I just use the regular yellow onions. I cut the ends off, and then I peel off that first layer so it's not kind of slimy and gross, because nobody likes gross, slimy onions in their food. Yuck. Now I use my fancy knife that cut my finger in my first video. And of course, my favorite chopper. You'll notice that Toby's next to me doing dishes. He's such an amazing husband, you guys. I hate to do dishes. I love to cook. Works out perfect. He does not let me do the dishes. So once everything is chopped up, I get about 2 cups of onion from what I can see that I measured. And I'm just gonna grab some water. I'm gonna take this onion and I'm gonna water saute it. So I let my water get real nice and hot and it's kind of bubbling, just a little bit of water. And then I put all my onion in. So you're gonna wanna saute this for about 5 minutes. Not too long. I don't want my onions completely softened because I need to put in more vegetables. So I'm gonna stir it around and I let it kind of simmer, and I'll stir it every so often. And while it's going, I chop up my tomatoes. I use Roma tomatoes. They are my favorite tomatoes. I don't know what makes me favor them so much. Maybe one of you can tell me, but I love Roma tomatoes. Do not de-seed them. You want all that juiciness in your chili con carne. So keep your seeds in, and I do about 2.5 tomatoes, and it gives me the same amount of onion. It gives me 2 cups of onion, okay? Now, you'll want to prepare and get ready with your garlic, but the first thing you're going to put in is your tomatoes. So I put my tomatoes in. My onions are not fully softened, but they're starting to get there, but they're not fully translucent. I don't know if you guys are like me, but do you notice how I leave nothing behind? Like every piece of onion, every tomato, oh my goodness, it's like the military. Leave no man behind. Ay, ay, ay. Grab your garlic and you put in 2 teaspoons of garlic. You can chop up your own garlic. I just don't have time for that, you guys. So I use the minced garlic in the big jar. And yes, it's a big ass jar because I use a lot of garlic in my cooking. So I stir that around again about 5 minutes. Just keep your eye on it and check on it often and see that it's softening. Once it gets a little bit soft, you'll want to grab your sazon Goya, culantro y achiote. Now listen, Toby asked me to use sofrito in this recipe, which is what I usually use, but I don't feel like it's fair because then I would have to share an entire recipe for sofrito because I don't believe in buying store-bought sofrito. So for today, we're using sazon Goya. I will have a sofrito recipe coming soon. So just take your envelope and dump it in there. This does not have any allergens for Jack. It does have MSG. If you're against that, don't use it and wait for the sofrito recipe, but we use sazon Goya all the time in our house. So I kind of stir it up and let that cook for a little bit. You can tell that it's getting soupy because of the tomato juices coming out. Now it's the Beyond Beef time. So this is Beyond Meat, Beyond Beef. We use it a lot. It's amazing because it has no soy and it has no gluten. And it's literally the best, you guys. If you don't eat meat, it's the best. So if you eat meat, go for it. Put your pound of beef in. We don't. So this is when you put your pound of Beyond Meat in. We love it because it's allergen free. It uses the protein from green peas. Yeah, like green peas have a ton of protein, I guess. So we use this all the time. And as you can see, like I did with the tomatoes and the onions, leave no man behind. I'm grabbing there's the last bit. You got it all, Trudy. Settle down. So once I get that in there, all I do is I kind of chop it up. Like, listen, some people would brown this beforehand. I don't feel like it changes the flavor at all in my chili con carne. In certain recipes, I do feel like browning changes the flavor, but it just doesn't do it for me on this. So I just put it in afterwards and I focus more on the flavor development of the onions and the tomatoes. So I mix this up, I chop it up really, really good. And I don't show it, but I kind of keep on chopping it up as I go. And I do it for about 15 minutes. So it's a total kind of like 35 minutes of cooking. Once it's cooked up a little bit, I put in 8 ounces of tomato sauce. I just use canned tomato sauce from H-E-B. It's inexpensive and it works. Oh, of course, I had to spill some because I'm Trudy. So I just pour that in and I stir that up. And right after this is when I will add all of my spices. But first, leave nothing behind, Trudy. Get it all out. There I go. Got it all out like a good mom. Just making sure I don't miss a drop. All right, so mix that all up and let it kind of bubble for a little bit and go get your spices. The first spice I put in is paprika. I love paprika because it adds a smokiness and a depth to it that I really don't understand or can explain, but I love it. It's more than for decoration, y'all. It's so good. 2 teaspoons of that. Then chili powder. Listen, I can't handle spice. Neither can Jack. I can't. This is me telling you, I can't handle spice. I can't. It's too hot for me. So we do flavor in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, not spice. So I just put in 1 little bit of chili powder. So I put 1 teaspoon of chili powder. If you like it more spicy, add more chili powder. We're wimps, so we only put 1 teaspoon. Next, salt. Oh my gosh, se me pasa la mano all the time on salt. That means I put way too much salt. I have low blood pressure, even though I'm chubby, and I put too much salt in everything. So I only put 1 teaspoon in this, and I didn't even add more, and I'm so proud of myself for not losing my mind with the salt. I always over-season it with salt. So 1 teaspoon, and it was just done. Next, oh my gosh, cumin. Oh, I could snort this, you guys. I love cumin. It is my favorite all-time spice. I put it in everything, and just like salt, I overdo it. So I'm only gonna put half a teaspoon in this, and then I'll taste it throughout to see if I need more. When I made this, I didn't add any more, and my family said it was delicious. Usually they're like, Mommy, you went crazy on the cumin again. But not today. I did good, y'all. Stir that in, and it'll look like chili, but not quite perfect yet. Let those flavors all simmer together for a few minutes. You'll notice the smell in your kitchen, and that'll tell you it's time to add the last ingredient. Dark red kidney beans, or just red kidney beans. I rinse them out, and I add them at the end because I don't like my beans all mushy. Gross. I like my beans with a lot of texture. So I make sure that they're all in there. I stir it up, and that's literally the end of my chili con carne. It's perfectly done. It's exactly how I like it. It's thick, and yet it's got, a little soupiness. Now we're gonna make the Frito pie. You get a bowl. You add some corn chips. And after you add the corn chips, all you do is add some chili. Oh look, you made chili. It's perfect. Then you add your cheese. We are using Daya because it's what I've got. I don't know if you call it Daya. I don't know. And then I microwave it for a little bit, actually, to make it super cheesy. This is what your chili con carne should look like. Again, you can use it with rice. You can use it all by itself as chili, and you can use it over Frito Pie, that delicious Texas treat. If you don't live in Texas, let me know if Frito Pie is a thing where you live. I've always wondered. I love Frito Pie because it's crunchy, it's cheesy, it's warm, it's delicious. I wonder if Carlos would have gotten any of this if he snuck into my kitchen. Oh my gosh, he did. Thanks for watching, you guys. See you next week.